What is up, everybody? We are here on the Live Beyond Average podcast number 6. Also here with Austin Kjergaard of the PerformRite podcast. Austin just got back from a delayed honeymoon. He got married 2 summers ago.
Yep, 2 summers ago.
You were down in like Mexico and the East Coast for like 10 days.
Yeah, we were. It was crazy. My wife and I, we were in school when we got married, and we didn't really have time to take a honeymoon, so we took a little bit of a delayed one. But we got it done, so.
Right on.
But Jordan, also, one of the reasons why we're doing this is he had celebrated a birthday recently, so he had done some traveling as well.
We were out of town a little bit.
Yeah.
It was a good little break.
It was.
And it actually kind of preludes what we're going to be talking about today. We were just hit a little workout here. It's Sunday, and had a little fun, just did a little bro day together.
Yeah.
Got to catch up. We haven't seen each other in like 3-4 weeks. So just hit a quick little 30-minute arm circuit for fun.
Oh, it was a lot of fun.
We always get to talking. That's the biggest thing when we train, is we always get to talking about things that matter to us, or details that we're working on in our life, or struggles that are happening. And it was really cool because Austin started talking about that personal balance you get from a trip away.
Mm-hmm.
When you get out of that normal routine, when you get out of that regimen, and you experience life in a different aspect, in a different mindset, and how it is personally that you're going to either benefit from that,
right,
or potentially mentally hurt yourself if your mindset isn't right going into that. So the psychology behind that is super intriguing to me, and Austin actually has a really cool outlook on it. So that is the main focus today.
Yeah. So when Jordan and I were talking after we both got back from the trip, which was not long ago, like Jordan was saying, I was delayed, so I got back a lot later than I was anticipating. But for those that don't know, Jordan and I both coach people online, so we deal with multiple different types of people that have different goals, different personalities. And one thing I think he would agree with, but something that I've noticed as well, is when people get on a regimen, like a new workout routine, a new diet routine, they start to get going and start seeing results, and things start progressing really well. But the test is what happens when they go out of town, like on vacation or an out-of-town trip. Because like Jordan said earlier, it can make or break you. And I think when someone first starts getting into a new workout or diet program, they need to ask themselves what kind of personality type they are. Are they someone that needs a strict regimen? Or are they someone that, they're okay straying off and getting back on? Because when you go on a trip, if you don't know your personality type and you don't know, how to balance things that work best for you, you can struggle. I know people that have lost maybe 15-20 pounds, and they have a vacation coming up, and they don't know what to do because they don't know how to track their food, because it's not going to, it's going to be local foods, or there may not be the best gym. And so I think it's important to ask, what kind of a person are you? I'll use my wife and I, for example. We're both very health conscious minded people, but we're taking a honeymoon to Mexico. We're not gonna be strict. And I know that may be a shock for some people, because we coach people, so we're very strict mindset when it comes to getting workouts and getting stuff in. But at the same time, you have to ask yourself, what's more important? Is making memories more important? Is getting results health-wise more important? And can you manage both? Can there be a sense of both?
Can you bring both of them into the same spectrum?
Absolutely.
And that is a huge part, actually, of what we coach.
Yes.
And finding that personal balance between goals and living a very high-quality life.
Yeah, because it's very easy. I think it's human nature for us to get set on one thing. So if it's, let's say, counting macros, it's very easy. We're going to count macros for the rest of our life. Doesn't matter if we're going to a wedding, we're going to count macros, we're going to do everything. And it's like, great, you have instilled a healthier mindset to a certain extent. But if you're going to, but if you're going to let it ruin you, and when I say ruin you, like, ruin the moments with your family, then that, again, you got to ask yourself, what kind of personality you type. So back to like my wife and I, when we went, again, we're health-minded people, so we would order food. We would order food that had more substance, more meat to it, more protein. We wanted to make sure because when you travel, it's hard to come by protein, so we would order more protein type of things, and we made sure we were very active. We swam a lot. We walked a walk. There was a fitness facility, so we tried to, get a workout in there, here and there, but we also wanted to spend, time with each other. And so, and just that goes a long ways. Now, again, I know everyone's mindset might be different, but like, we were trying to, enjoy each other's company, enjoy time away, but we wanted to make sure we weren't completely let off. So we walked a lot, we swam a lot, we tried to work out here and there. And I think that I think that's an approach that a lot of people need to take. But really trying to beat this psychology side of things is you need to accept that fact. So if you're going to go on a trip and you know that food may not be great, you need to accept that fact that you may struggle when you're gone. And when you get back, if your weight jumps up 5-6 pounds, or maybe even 10 pounds, you need to accept that fact going into it. So when you get back, you're not completely taken off guard.
Right.
You don't feel like a failure, because you have to say, okay, I enjoyed my time, but now I need to get back on. A lot of people, they go and they're like, I'm going to go and binge eat and do all these things. And then they're like, I'm going to go try to detox and flush all that stuff out. Unfortunately, it doesn't really work that way.
Right.
If you drink a bunch of shots and beer and eat a bunch of fast food, you can't just magically get it gone in 3-4 days. You can't. What you can do, though, is get back onto what you were doing before you went on vacation. Be more active. Maybe it's adding a little more cardio back in or doing something, just being more active. And your body will normalize after a few days. Perfect example, I gained maybe 4 or 5 pounds being on vacation, and after 2-3 days of being back on, my weight is now back down. There was no magic trick, there was nothing. I just got back on
the normal.
People tend to be less active on vacation. It may sound funny, but they do tend to be less active. So even just walking and doing more activity things, you may be surprised. And then just being more conscious. We didn't track everything. We just knew if we were going to eat something high in protein. It's the same thing when people go out of town. Be accepting that you're not going to be perfect at that point. But when you come back, if your fitness goals are truly important to you, then get back on and don't make an excuse. Because people, when they get into that routine, well, I didn't work out, I didn't do this.
Don't get back on a Wednesday and use, I'm going to start on Monday.
Monday, yes, exactly.
You're just prolonging that bad feeling, that mental inhibitor from getting back on the norm and getting back to that body regulation.
Right.
And I think it comes down to, like you had mentioned, making those choices is, who's the authority
right
in the decision making and what you're doing. Is the food you're eating, is that maybe that mental negativity that you've created yourself in your head, is that the authority, or are you going to let you and your self-awareness be the authority? And hey, this is okay to do this when I'm gone.
Yep.
This is okay to feel this way when I'm back.
Yep.
And this is okay to get right back on it when I'm back and get back to my normal routine. And it's just having that power to have, you are the authority in your decision making. You have to inside of your head, again, I'm going to keep using the word accept, you have to accept these facts. You have to, and I'll use it from a smaller standpoint, because we're talking about vacations, and you don't go on vacation every single weekend. Most people don't. Right.
But let's use the weekend, for example. There's a lot of people, Monday through Friday, spot on nutrition, spot on working out. The weekend comes and they go drink and they go party, and then they're really upset that 3 months later.
It's not even just the drinking and the partying, it's the food that comes with
it. Absolutely.
Right.
And it's the less activity.
Right.
And it's, that's what we're trying to talk about here is, okay, if you have fitness goals that are important to you, you need to be okay with understanding you're going to make it harder on yourself by doing those things on the weekends. But if that is your stressor, then you have to accept that. Because too many times people are like, well, I want to go and drink and do all these things, and I want to go and hit these goals. You need to ask yourself, going back to being, what kind of personality are you? Are you someone that it's one or the other? Because you may have to hone in on what is for you.
And work at integrating the balance of the other.
Exactly. If you're someone that struggles with some balance, then you got to try one thing or the other. And again, using the example of like us going on our honeymoon in Mexico, is if you struggle with balance and you're like, well, I'm an all or nothing kind of person, I'm going to eat whatever I want. Okay, well, if you're going to eat whatever you want, try to eat something that's maybe more protein based and maybe a little less carb based. You just have to think about that. It's okay, but you have to accept the fact that if you are the one, personal responsibility here, if you are the one that are making these decisions that realistically and honestly are setting you back, you have to accept that fact that that is you, that is what you're doing. Another example, he goes and celebrates birthday, goes out of town, eats, does what he needs to do. I go on my honeymoon, but then we both get back. We just got done working out. We've been more active. Has things been 100% yet? Nope, but we have to get caught up on work and other things. But we're not going to make that excuse. We're sitting here telling you that we're not perfect either, but we're not going to make the excuse, and that's the difference. We're going to implement slow things, and that's going to get us right back into our routine.
And I think a big factor of that is mentally, the mental strength there that we've worked on over the years is allowing us that I'm not mentally going to get down on myself after 2 days or 3 days of being off of my normal.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I went on my little bit, you know, my wife took me out of town. You know, she went ahead and found a gym close by and got us passes to go, and we packed all of our gear to do it, and we never even went. You know what I mean? And so you know, for me, I didn't work out for 2.5, 3 days there, and when I got there, going into it, I didn't think that's what I needed, but when I got there, it's what I needed. I needed not to train. I needed not to do that. I needed to be away from it. I needed to be turned off. And coming back, how much better I felt. I don't need to feel down about not working out for 3 days. I don't need to feel down about not eating my normal food for 3 days. You know, and so for me, it's a mental acceptance of that trip. Now, when I get back, I don't stick to that. You know what I mean? I'm ready to get back. I light switch it back on, and go for it. So I'm not wasting any of that time. I'm not having an extended vacation when I'm home. It's back to the regular goals, the ambitions. You know, my actions have to meet my ambitions there.
Absolutely.
So it's back to it. And so, you know, just be focused on that when you're on vacation. You know, my dad was great at instilling this with me. When I was younger, I would stress about school. And so when I was like 6th, 7th grade, I would really stress about school. You know, I didn't fit in the best around that age, and so I would stress about that. I'd stress about my homework. It was difficult for me at that time. And so when I was at home afterwards and I'd be playing basketball, which is what I did every day after school, my dad could just tell that I always have something on my head, something on my brain, thinking about something. And, you know, he was great at instilling. He's like, hey, when you're at school, I don't want you thinking about basketball. I want you focused on school. He's like, and when we're home here and you're done with your schoolwork, or we're shooting practice right now, he's like, I want you to focus on that. He's like, you don't need to think about school. You know, this is the time, you know, you have certain time set aside for certain things. And so for me, very lucky that I had that instilled in me and drilled in me. And so I utilize that same concept now when it comes to nutrition, or when it comes to my training, or when it comes to my balance in, you know, my life with my wife and my kids, whatever it may be, is that, you know, when I'm home focused on certain goals, that's what I'm thinking about. I'm not necessarily thinking about next vacation. Or when I'm on vacation, I'm trying to shut off the normal ambition. Because that, for me, that's my thing. Is usually when I'm not doing it, I'm thinking about wanting to get better at my goals and things like that. So learning to have that mental balance, that's really what we're getting at with today's podcast, is just having that self-balance to live a cognitive, a mental, psychological, healthy life. We talk so much about the physical and what training brings us, but that means nothing if the psychological isn't extremely healthy.
People need to be more honest with themselves, like honest about how important your goal is to you. I can't remember who said this, but I really, really think that this would change people's perspective. Instead of saying like, I don't have time for something, say, it's not my priority right now. So if you're on vacation, say working out's not my priority. My priority is being with my family. Say it, own it. Like, it's okay. Like,
it'll lead to a much healthier you.
But when you get back and you're still saying, well, I don't want to go to the gym, don't say I don't want to, say it's not my priority. You might wake up a little bit and be like, okay, I figure out why I can't lose this 20 pounds. It's not the program that I'm not on, may or may not be working. It's I've really struggled personally with getting it back on because I haven't made it. I made it a priority before I went, but then I got out, and now, like, I hear that a lot, and then I also hear people say, well, it's somebody else's fault. And I'm not trying to pick on anyone, but, like, I'm trying to give that tough love of, we really need to be honest with ourselves. Like, I did not track something when I was in Mexico, but here we are working out, we're eating better, we're moving better, and that's what people need to do. If you're someone that really struggles, like you can't flip that switch on that well, then when you get home on Wednesday, you better wake up Thursday and then go walk, 2-3 miles, go drink more water. Don't go eat out on Thursday. You just make those small changes. Then by Monday, you have...
Don't put it off.
Don't put it off.
Do something little, even if it's for 15 minutes. You
Yep.
got to get back into that mindset. Because putting it off just keeps it in the back of the head. Negative energy happens because of that. It weighs on you because it's something you do want. It's there. I mean, you've thought of it, and so it's there. You might not be working at it like you truly want it, but it's there. That means you want it. And so don't put that off, because all that's doing is creating that negative energy, that negative weigh down that you want to do it. So those are those things you need to be actually prioritizing and putting first.
Like you said, like if being in the moment of vacation is what it is for you, then be in the moment of vacation. But when you're back, be in your routine. Be present in your routine. Be present in your family. you know, your workouts, your job, be present in there. Stop. Okay, you did the vacation, you were there. Stop going back to that. You're not on vacation anymore. You're here.
Get
It's
back
time
to work.
to work.
And you know what? If it's something you want, it shouldn't feel that much like work anyway.
No.
Just get it done and enjoy it and reap those benefits.
Absolutely.
It's pretty awesome. So,
It is.
we hope that you enjoyed
Yeah.
today's podcast,
Yeah,
a
we
little
hope it
Sunday
helps.
afternoon thoughts, post-workout for us
Yeah.
on that self-balance. We hope you enjoyed the Live Beyond Average podcast and the PerformRite podcast
Yes.
today. If you loved it, give us a 5-star rating. We really
Yes.
appreciate it. Share it with somebody you think it might help as well, and we hope to see you next time.
Thanks, guys.